Give people a few moments to come in the chat. Y'all read the description. Legal hustle is better. Why? Because it's long term. We're going to start with the illegal side. Okay. I'm not going to say it's cool to do illegal things for money. Bread, whatever you want to say. But I understand certain decision making. It depends all on your age. You know what I mean? Illegal hustle, it's always like one of the greatest rush feelings ever because you eating. And not saying you're not eating with a legal job. You know what I mean? It just, illegally, it comes in lump sums. You know what I mean? So you're able to spend, live, and do a lot of things more different than somebody who has a budget income. Illegal, yeah, you living it up, you enjoying it, you taking trips, you buying designer, jewelry, cars. You know what I mean? Hopefully if you're smart, you know what I mean, you investing in property and other little whatever you got, you know what I mean, somebody, turn you on to. Um you party more, you do a lot more when it's illegal. Because the paper coming in different versus somebody who paper coming in and it's a job every week or every 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So, but we trying to decipher the two because remember it's about longevity. Fortnite XD617. What up? What it do? What it do, family? Arch Times 22 said hi. What it do, family? We talking about the difference. Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all come in here. We talking about the difference between legal hustle and not legal hustle, you know? And I feel that the legal hustle is long term. For all y'all that just jumped in, man, tap in, hit that like button. But I feel like illegal hustle, you're going to celebrate, you're going to live it up, everything good. You looking out for the fam, the streets. Somebody call you, they need 500, you got it for them. You know what I mean? You the champion, you know what I mean? You the man, you know what I mean? When you around, you uplift spirits damn near, you know what I mean? So, but it's not a long, joyous moment when it's illegal, you know what I mean? Like I say, we love it when it's illegal, you know what I mean? You moving pounds, you doing this, you doing that. Glitch Place said hi, what it do, family? But when it's illegal, we enjoying the highs of everything, you know what I mean? Being able to be that security provider for yourself and for those that are immediately around you, you know what I mean? Like, it's a great feeling. It's like a rush, you know what I mean? Because you're looked upon as the champion, you know what I mean, as the go-to person. But and it's a lot of pressure coming with when you that big dog and you getting it illegally, you know what I mean? It's damn near like you're responsible for everybody, you know what I mean? And it wasn't even said, it just felt that way because everybody know, you know what I mean? You get into a bag, you handling your business. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Remember, we talking about legal hustle versus illegal hustle. And illegal, it's everything is all a moment. Billy Lowe, how high? Giraffe high. Yeah, like Gucci, man. I ain't gonna say what he said, but giraffe high. But when it's illegal, man, we all loving it. It's we coming down, you know what I mean? We going to the club, you know what I mean? The tab on you if everybody acting a little phony. Billy Lowe said good stuff. I appreciate you, man. Hit that like button. But when it's illegal, man, it's a good life. It's a good moment. You know what I mean? A lot of times, even though when we doing illegal things, we don't realize all that paper we really making is gonna end up being for bond, lawyers, car getting towed, all type of things. Billy Lowe, I smoke every day, bro. That's good. Well, you should be smoking with me now. I hope you got some rolled up, vibing. That's, you know what I mean? It's a live. Yeah. Yeah. You supposed to be smoking with me right now. Set your notification or whatever. You know what I mean? Anytime Tribe on here, you should be already rolled up. Okay, my boy on live. Let me spark up with him. But when you making all that illegal money, you don't realize it at the time. Billy Lowe, the live is herb, man. Yeah, you already know it for sure. Oh, for Amsterdam. Oh, you from Amsterdam? Oh, Amsterdam was like before all the dispensaries and how it is right now. Amsterdam was like the place to go. Like everybody already knew about the West Coast and stuff like that, but we not talking about to the new sport, new generation. You know what I mean? We talking about before the game of the cannabis game, how it is now. If you wanted to kind of smoke freely type, you had to go to Amsterdam. You know what I mean? You know, some people say Jamaica. Jamaica, I ain't gonna cap, no disrespect, but they be having trash. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's good to them, but it ain't that Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Like we blowing on over here in America. But Amsterdam was really like one of the like first places even rappers and celebrities back in the day could kind of go and blow their smoke and not really be, you know, because I think even back then, 20 years ago, if I ain't thinking, if I ain't mistaken, I mean, they had smoke shops where you can go over there and smoke in Amsterdam. The Holland stuff is very good, strong. Oh, okay, right. My boy, the Holland stuff is very good and strong. Yeah, I'm hip to Amsterdam though, but that legal hustle, bruh, illegal hustle. I mean, it's like a movie, bro. It's like highs and lows, bro. It's always good. It's always good. It's always good till somebody we don't know get in the situation. Yeah, I ain't never tried that before. I'm gonna have to try that. But you know, it's always good. You know what I mean? And then within the blink of an eye, one person get deflate the heat from them and put the heat on you. They done got caught up, or they got, you know what I mean, making a move, and now they wanted to take the heat off them and put it on you, but you're not aware of it. You know what I mean? And then you get jammed up, and all that money you were stacking, that you've been stacking, either is gonna go on lawyers, bond, car getting out the impound. God forbid if your house got raided, you know your landlord or whatever situation you in probably ain't gonna want you there no more. Or if the case big enough, it made the paper and you screwed because you got nosy neighbors and people around you who know you who running their mouth. But it's a lot of stuff that comes with illegal hustle. You know what I mean? Whether it's card swiping, drugs, uh, whatever you doing, card flipping, whatever you doing. You know what I mean? We all know it's risk. And truth be told, we already know they just got one time to catch you. You know what I mean? We sticking and moving all day, but it just take that one time for the laws to just get up with you. You know what I mean? So illegal hustle. You know, some people say you wrong for saying this. It could be a start, but at the same time, you know what I mean? If you ain't gonna do the right thing with the bread and you living for the moment, then in the end it's gonna backfire on you. You know what I mean? Like you wanna, if anything, if you're gonna do something illegal, you at least wanna be a stacker. You know what I mean? Don't live for the moment because of the dad fam said, hi, what it do, family? You know, you wanna, you know, if you're doing something illegal, you wanna stack. That way, if something did happen, your crib get raided. Cause I done seen all type of situations myself through experiences of life. And sometimes, you know, we stacking and stacking and stacking, but sometimes it still ain't even enough to stop smoking is bad for you. Yeah, you just want to really, me personally, this takes time and growth for certain people to understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because, you know, when you get it illegal, you know, it's all good. My boy said, what's up? Stop smoking. Stop smoking green? Bro, I don't smoke tobacco. Yeah, Jordan Brown said, can you say hi? What's up, Jordan Brown? Illegal? God, I pray this man finds you and help him stop smoking. Bro, I'm smoking weed, bro. I ain't smoking no tobacco, bro. You got people out there, I'm pretty sure you around co-workers, life experienced people who do it a lot more worse, bro. I smoke weed and work out. Matter of fact, tap in with testosterone booster, 60 capsules, take 2 a day, results in 7 days, good pre-workout motivation. You know what I mean? We promote positivity over here. Stephanie Agar, are you a Christian? No, I'm not a Christian, but I believe in God. I don't claim a religion. To me, claiming religions, I mean, it's just my opinion. I don't want to get deep, but claiming religions to me is like a gang. It's like, because you got some people who talk about they Buddhists, some people atheists. I don't know. I don't really even like to get into religion and politics. Them like two different, I mean, them two touchy subjects you want to try to avoid, but I believe in God directly. I don't claim a religion. I believe Jesus Christ is real, his angels is real. And I don't really get into the different religion type thing. Can you say Damien? Hell no, boy. What the fuck I look like? You that sound like something that you ask a woman to say during sex or something. Can you say, I get you? Stephanie Agar said, I get you. That's what's up. See, that's what it's about. Just an understanding. Like, you know what I mean? You see that? Like, that's what you call a real adult right there. Like, I get you. It was not no going back and forth. You know what I mean? It was very adult about the situation. Like, oh, okay, I understand you. I didn't disrespect. I didn't get too deep. I just said that I just believe in God directly. I don't claim a religion because to me, it's like a gang. You got, you know what I mean? Damn, they'll start a debate between you and somebody. Oh, I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Christian, or I'm an atheist, or I'm a Buddhist. I do voodoo, I do witchcraft, whatever it is you do. I mean, that's what you do. I have nothing to do with whatever it is you do in your off time. But I know this much. Get back on the subject. Illegal money is all good. Yes, you have certain people. Jordan Brown, subscribe. I appreciate you, dog. That's real. Make sure you set that notification and go to my YouTube post and check all my updates and just merch and go all the way to the bottom and then go all the way back up. Take your time and look through there. I got videos and all of that. Learn who I am. You know what I mean? Because I got an interview that's finna drop soon. So I appreciate you, Jordan. But yeah, when you doing it illegal, you feel like you sitting on the throne. I appreciate you. You feel like you sitting on the throne of being untouchable. And then once you get touched, because remember, when you do it illegal, it only take you one time to get touched. And that one time when you get touched, it might not be a short-term touch. It could be a long-term. And that's what I think a lot of us don't really be thinking about when we're in the game. Like we sticking and moving and doing everything and the money coming fast as a cheetah. You know what I mean? So it's like you think about consequences of life, but you don't think about consequences of life until they actually happen. You know what I mean? Then when it actually happened, you know what I mean? It's like that moment while you sitting in the holding tank, you playing everything back. How could they have got you? Who could have set you up? What move you felt was fishy? And it's just not a good situation. You know what I mean? I feel like as far as us as humans, it wasn't meant for us to be put in cages. That's why back in the day, when they was putting people in cages, whether it was slaves or people from Europe or anywhere, you know what I mean? People felt like that's just very not human, you know what I mean? Like humans weren't born to be in cages. That's why a lot of people can't handle time when they get it. They be in the pill call line, you know what I mean? Or they just do their time in a bad way, you know what I mean? And make it real mentally stressful and draining on themselves to where when they do finally get out, you got family members and certain people like, damn, this person ain't the same, you know what I mean? Which is, you don't want to be the same, you know what I mean? You're supposed to grow and change as within time. but illegally can get you took away from your family, you know what I mean? And dealing with fake jailhouse lawyers, you know what I mean, who been locked up 3, 4, 5, 10 times throughout their life, and it's your first or second time, and they trying to play lawyer and all that, and trying to predict and tell you what you gonna get and all of that. It's a lot of down stuff that comes with illegal, you know what I mean? Like I say, yes, we getting money, we enjoying the good times of it. I know. I done had like 6 phones at one time in my life. All of them doing backflips. I'm talking about bunking. This phone ringing, this phone ringing. I'm fall on the floor down in between my legs, fall on the fell on the side of the seat of the car, like, you know, phones just going crazy, you know what I mean? So I done lived that rush before. You know what I mean? You up, bunking all night. You know what I mean? You behind the damn school bus in the morning time that's letting kids on the bus. You know what I mean? Like you rocking. You know what I mean? And I done got down on solos and with the best of the best. I done been around them all. You know what I mean? I know plenty of solid niggas who we was around each other and niggas was eating. You know what I mean? So like I say, but we all loving that moment. You know what I mean? Until the real issue happens. And then when it happens, we act like we prepared, and then some people just completely not prepared. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when you get older and you look back and you recognize certain stuff as far as with your hustle, if you ain't eating, making major money to the point where like if you go through 2 years, the lifestyle that you already had can't continue with your girl and your kid or whatever, then you ain't making no real paper. And what I mean by lifestyle, meaning like, you know, like it you're not there physically, but it's like the way you help and provide, it feels like you're there. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you and y'all got a routine, you know what I mean? So if you ain't making no paper like that, then it really ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Because that's the type of paper you want to be making. You want to. I know it's sad, but it's like if you in the game, you got to know what come with the game. So it's like if you stacking paper and you got a certain amount of money, you already. It's crazy to say, but you know, okay, there's lawyer fees. This just in case this happened. You know what I mean? Before you even really get to splurging and buying Versace, Louis, and all of that, you got to make sure that paper you got stacked is divided and set around. You know what I mean? And that way, because you always got to be real with yourself and say something capable to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah, when you getting that paper and you stacking it up illegally, you got to make sure that you got that paper divided up. You know what I mean? You know, you ain't got that. You ain't got everything just sitting in one lump sum. You know what I mean? Like you already know. Okay, it's kind of like, and I'm not promoting nobody to do nothing negativity. We just having a conversation difference between legal hustle and illegal hustle. And to me, legal hustle is just better because long term. You know what I mean? Legal hustle, okay, yeah, the money different. You got a job, you know what I mean? And I know some people who got a job, they might do their little weed or something on the side, you know what I mean? Which is cool, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, the money do stack different, but that don't mean the money can't be stacked just because you got a job. You know what I mean? It's all about long term and you making it out here. You trying to play the game or you trying to survive the game, you got to survive life. You know what I mean? When you hear somebody say, "I'm just trying to survive the game," meaning the streets, then you lost right there, boy. You need to be trying to survive life. You know what I mean? Like it's like a maze. You know what I mean? Or a race. You know, you may start, but is you gonna make it to the finish line? It don't matter what place you come in, but is you gonna at least make it to run through the finish line? And a lot of us, we don't really analyze that when we smoking our blunts or we just chilling and all of that. And we got that downtime moment where your phone ain't ringing and going crazy. And it's like, is you really analyzing your life? You know what I mean? Like, is this something you really can see yourself saying, I'm gonna retire and all this? And then when you really outgrow the game, when you get older and as time go on, you look back and you be like, especially if you have a kid, you know what I mean? You know, we got to be examples for our kids. And even, and it's not just for dudes, for women too. It's like, if you wake up every day, your kid just see you always at the crib. When they go to school, they leave to go to school in the morning, you at the house. When they come home, you at the house. They, kids go by what they see. You know what I mean? They never seen their mom or dad or whoever be productive. So it don't even cross their mind to really be productive all like that, because they never seen you do anything positive to motivate them to want to do something positive. You know what I mean? A lot of times we think that we doing something positive because we riding around getting money, and we able to, it can be random stuff. See, when you got street money, you could buy stuff randomly. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't got to even think about it. You know what I mean? If you see something you want, you just buy it. Your kids see something, hey, can I get this? Because they know you got the money, because they see daddy or mama will count a lot of money. So, you know, kids can see $1,600 in tens, ones, and fives and 20s and feel you rich. You know what I mean? But it is highs to street money. You know what I mean? But if it's still highs to work money, you just got to be a stacker. If you don't know how to stack no money, then you ain't gonna enjoy your hard-earned labor. You know what I mean? As far as like what you doing on your job, you know what I mean? You gotta stand up. See, with a job, people get caught up in like you can't stack because they feel like even if it's $75 out of each check, that's stacking. You know what I mean? When it comes to stacking, you don't really gotta set no certain amount, as long as you just putting something on the side. You keep a track of it, but you not. You know what I mean? Because you got some form of idea of how much money you stacking anyway. So yes, with a job, you still can stack and eat like dudes on the streets. The only difference is he capable to not be here within an hour, next week, 6 months, or a year from down the road. You will still be stacking your money from your job, doing that same little routine you was doing that started from you just put 75 out your check to now you up to 150. He going through, gotta have money on a call, you know what I mean? Visits and you know what I mean? You know, all type of stuff, you know what I mean? That's just not healthy for life. You know what I mean? When you got the dude who chose to work a job and go by the legal and probably sell a little weed on the side, he's still out here living life, going to parades, going to the fair, going to concerts, going to games, football games, baseball games. He enjoying life. And then dudes got to be real. For the dudes who trap, who used to trap like me, you got to be real. When you locked up and you see dudes out there who you know he might be an electrician, and you see photos or whatever that he might have sent to a family member, and you and that family member just tight and they showing you stuff, or you now you can just see for yourself because everybody got phones now. A lot of people, for y'all that's locked up, forget the illegal. What y'all feel to realize is this now. A lot of dudes is really eating off a real job. In your mind, you got to think that in order for them to live like that, that they doing something illegal. You know what I mean? Yes, I don't know everybody business, but I do know it's a chosen few out here who's strictly doing it by the books, and they living and eating real good. And if you locked up and you don't know no better, you probably think there's somebody making moves, and they don't got to be making moves. It's what I said. Is they got a good stat game. You know what I mean? The only thing it is with a job in the streets is that the streets, you can blow the bread at that moment. At a job, you might have to tell yourself, like, I can spend that right now, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll come back for it. If it's not here, okay, cool. Me, personally, I'd rather budget like that than budget like how I used to, like going to, and anybody know this spot was lit. You know what I mean? I used to call Tops and Bottoms in Cleveland Baby ATL. We used to go to this was over 10 years ago. You know what I mean? My boy Rio, Skinny Chubbs, you know, we going there at Blunt Convo. You know what I mean? Every week, 5, 10,000 in our pocket, blowing it all through the weekend. And then you got life expenses in general. You know what I mean? You living like you don't care because you get money out the streets. You know what I mean? Um, Work money, I'd rather be having work money. You're more disciplined because you know you can want something, but you can say it ain't a need. Even though that same rule should be applied for street term money too. If you're trying to stack it and get on about your way, or stack it, and then when something hit the fan, you kind of able to lay low and cut whoever off you need to cut off. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, I make the money to enjoy myself, but I also make the money too when I was in the streets too. If I had to fall back, I could fall back. You know what I mean? You gonna take a hit or whatever, but that's when you gotta get a job or apply yourself, or if you smart, you already put money into something that when you fall back, you still generating passive income. You know what I mean? So it's all on the individual. You know what I mean? How many steps ahead of certain things they are. You know what I mean? So me personally, when it comes to illegal, do you really want to live like that forever, always having to stay steps ahead of everybody? You know what I mean? Because when you do it illegal, you think you get sleep and rest and enjoy life, but you're really not. You're really not. It's only temporary. You know what I mean? Just like some people say, some of the stuff you get illegal is just temporary gains at that moment. It can all be stripped from you. But legal, you can able to know, unless something happened medically, that I'm gonna be here for my girl, or I'm gonna be here on the streets living my life for the next couple of years because I'm doing it legal, and the moves I'm making is gonna generate what lifestyle I eventually want to live if I just stay down. You know what I mean? So the best thing about what I do as far as Tribe TV is I've lived both. You know what I mean? Like I've lived the highs, the mids, and the lows. You know what I mean? So when you already have experience touching money or been at the ceiling of the game, you know what I mean? Certain stuff don't even move you no more. You know what I mean? Like certain stuff you can basically the only way you can impress me is by jumping in the sky and stay there. You know what I mean? That'll impress me. But it's like when you done had money and everything, you know what I mean? Like jewelry, whatever it is that attracts people attention to you, you don't gotta flash it and show it all the time. You know what I mean? I'd rather live a modest lifestyle. You could try to digi up my pockets off pictures. That's as far as it's gonna go. But I'd rather live a modest lifestyle that you really can't read like that. That you could say, "Damn, he got to be comfortable," or "He comfortable." Woo, 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 woo. Or you know what I mean? Or you just don't know what's going on. You just speculating. You know what I mean? And that ain't got nothing to do with if you in the game, even if you got a job. You know what I mean? It's nobody business to know what's going on, how you stack, how you move. And I think the biggest thing, are you rich? I mean, I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I'm straight. You know what I mean? I'm on my way. But have I been rich before? Yes, but that was a long time ago when I was in the game and I was living a certain way. You know what I mean? I'm not in the game. You know what I mean? So I would consider me not rich no more. You know what I mean? I don't know if you understand that, but when you in the game, you can just be driving and just see a car and go buy it, cash out on it. You know what I mean? See, I'm more of a cash out on something. You know what I mean? I don't want no payments. You know what I mean? So, but now that I'm not in the game, if I was just riding and seeing something I want, I wouldn't get it because it's something I want and I don't even probably need it. You know what I mean? And I'd rather be the way I am now because you're smarter financially. You know what I mean? Okay, I smoke weed, wow, but I don't smoke tobacco and I don't drink. But I still promote fitness, you know what I mean? And health, you know what I mean? Got my own brand of water, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Apparel, socks, you know what I mean? Tribe Culture socks, you know what I mean? So, I like who I am now because financially I'm more smarter versus when you in the streets, you friendly as hell with money. You know what I mean? People don't even know. They don't even got to go sell rib sandwiches. They don't got to go sell nothing. They could just strictly go straight in their contacts and call you and know that 450, 500 or 1,000, whatever they need, they know they could get it from you. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be like that. Do you live like WWE? What you mean live like W? Nah, I don't live like I live a modest lifestyle. You know what I mean? I don't do too much. I'm not stunting. You know what I mean? I'm living just like how you living, and you know what I mean? You taking it day for day. We the same. The only difference is I got time in my spare time to do what I'm doing now, promote my brands. Like I told y'all, I got unlimited tribe jackets dropping. You know what I mean? That I ain't revealed yet, but if you go on my YouTube post, I already showed some. We're doing pink for the rest of the year. This is a hoodie. I will pop this baby out. You know what I mean? We do we prospering with branding, and I'm trying to build my company. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I got the right people paying attention to me, so you know what I mean, that's what we on over here. You know what I mean? And if you just stay down, like I was just saying on my last live, when you got merch like me, or you coming into this situation like how I'm coming into, right? I always base stuff off the game a little bit. I know this may sound crazy what I'm about to say, but just slowly just pay attention to me and read me for a couple seconds. Okay, if you buy 5 shirts, right? I'm trying to turn 5 shirts into 10 shirts. You know what I mean? Then I'm trying to turn 10 shirts into 15 or 20 shirts. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to go more shirts than my last cop. You know what I mean? And before you know it, all you got to do is just keep the product. People who know what you do, when they bump into you, or if they just know in general, they'll contact you. They'll ask you out of nowhere, hey man, that hoodie I seen you in, or that I seen somebody else in, you got another one of those? And you say, yeah, and bam, you know what I mean? See, I learned through all my years of life that I'm not a right now person. You know what I mean? I'm a, you know what I mean, observe, rather wait patiently person. You know what I mean? Everything can't always be a right now, like a spoiled brat child type vibe. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have some patience, you know what I mean? Like, and that's one thing I've always been kind of somewhat good at, is having patience. You know what I mean? I really believe in self-discipline and studying not life in general, but just your life as far as on stuff and moves you made that you look back or say to yourself, I could have done better, I could have corrected, or I could have not got drunk last Thursday. I'm more of a, when that's my religion, as far as if I was to claim self-discipline, meaning, you know what I mean, staying aware and acknowledging Jesus Christ and God, and knowing that angels and everything is real, you know what I mean? That I'm not waking up on my own because I'm promoting a fitness, you know what I mean? And that I'm promoting working out and drinking bottles of water. No, you know what I mean? You know how many people is in graveyards right now who is gym freaks? You know what I mean? I'm talking about like they didn't smoke, they didn't drink, you know what I mean? And they still in the graveyard. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we really think that, oh, my heart pumping on my own. I'm able to blink my eyes, move my fingers on my own, and not even acknowledging that it's our Heavenly Father. You know what I mean? But hey, to each his own. You know what I mean? It's your choice, you know? So, getting back on the subject, but illegal, yes, you living like the Super Bowl, you living it up. You know what I mean? You feel like you winning, you know what I mean? Mom, deuce, everybody around you who immediately around you, that you in your circle, they all straight, you know what I mean? They all on bending knee with you. You know what I mean? You the hero. But if you're not smart enough, or you ain't got no consignere, like you gotta see, when you get money, a lot of times we don't, and I used to do this, we don't, like, we hear people, but we don't hear people. Like when you get money, man, and somebody who had money, whether they don't got it no more, you can't look down on them, man. You know what I mean? That don't mean they can't say nothing that can't benefit you. You know what I mean? So sometimes we ignore the red flags because we so arrogant and caught up into what we doing that we ain't seeing nothing but paper in our surroundings. You know what I mean? So I know we think that we being focused because we playing the mirrors and you know what I mean. We making sure there ain't nobody following us to the crib and we ain't loafing and you know what I mean. We ain't shaking ass in the streets. We moving around. You know what I mean. So um, it's a lot even when you got a legal hustle going because if you known for having money legally, you just like how street dudes go through robbers and jackers. It's the same thing. You know what I mean. It's similar lifestyles. It's just a job is just longevity, you know what I mean? Versus you just depending on getting all this bread out the streets and you capable to not be here next year. You know what I mean? And a lot of us don't realize true growth until you're free from out of being in prison for a certain amount of years to understand what life really is about. If you doing stretch out to stretch and you only out a year or two, there ain't enough time for you to fully comprehend on what life really about. You know what I mean? The stuff that you was out here getting money for is material gains. Some people say, "Oh, I got to feed my kids." It's a lot of other ways you can feed your kids, though. You know what I mean? That wasn't the smart way because if it was, you would be free. You know what I mean? And this ain't no disrespect to anybody who locked up. We just talking the difference between legal money and illegal money. How illegal money, yes, you living like the Super Bowl for that moment. Life good. Yes, you the top done daughter of the family. Everybody loving you. You can provide. But it's not long term. You know what I mean? So legal is better. You know what I mean? Like I say, where you business cards, you know what I mean? Like I be having stuff that I don't even use. I be seeing dudes like, man, look, I got all type of stuff that I don't even use, bro. I got stuff still in a box, bro. That I don't even use. People be showing their little stuff on Facebook Live to my I be having all the little stuff like the mics, all that. I don't be using none of that stuff. Turn my phone into I be having all that stuff. I don't be using none of it for real. You know what I mean? I really don't for real. But the idea, you know what I mean? These business cards. The idea, you need to find you one to roll with it and just go all in with it and really, we used to invest in ourselves anyway when we used to hit the mall, hit designer stores, in the hood, doing barbecues, whatever, you know what I mean? Like just any type of hero type vibes, you know what I mean? Was invested in ourselves anyway, you know what I mean? Whether you reing up on the pack or whatever, because you're increasing your bread. But now it's time to go another way as far as on really not missing out on life no more. Because I'm gonna say this before I end it. You when you free, bro, and you been through the storm and all of that, like locked up and all of that, and you've been free on the streets 20 years, bro. You look at life different from somebody who only been out 6, 9 months, 10 months, and they end up getting jammed up going back. They don't understand your ways. They don't even understand why you probably been saying what you saying so calm because they ain't gave themselves the opportunity to really enjoy life. You know what I mean? See, when you really enjoy life, certain things may impress you or certain things may excite you, but certain things won't impress you and then certain things won't excite you because you've been there before. You know what I mean? The biggest blessing of life is waking up to life every day. You know what I mean? Material things is cool. You know what I mean? But I don't let it define my character. You know what I mean? Me as being 10 toes down is what's going to define my character and how long you stay down and don't tap out because, like I say, in the end, it's going to benefit you. You know what I mean? So Me personally, the topic today was legal versus illegal. And if I had a choice, I would say legal. 10 years ago, if you would have asked me this question, I would have probably said illegal. You know what I mean? But that's what you call growth. You know what I mean? So y'all already know. Go to my YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and you know, hit the like buttons. Go to my posts. You know, check for updates. You know what I mean? We got merch for males and females. You know what I mean? And you know, tap in, Tribe Gang. Like I said, legal or illegal hustle. Legal is better. In the end, you win. It's not about material things. It's about life and growth. And that's where you win at. Tribe.